Fala pessoal do Sharpcast, muito bom dia, boa tarde ou boa noite. Eu e o Divinão estamos aqui para mais um podcast, né, Divinão?
Isso, estamos aqui hoje, vamos entrevistar o CEO e co-founder da Betdex. Vocês vão curtir bastante esse papo aí.
Exatamente. A gente que já falou da Betdex aqui antes, que tem sido uma das nossas parceiras aí também. A Betdex aí que é uma exchange que está vindo aí para meio que revolucionar o mercado, sabe? É uma pegada bem diferente, baseada aí em uma tecnologia que está bem na moda, que é a questão do blockchain, a mesma tecnologia que usam ali nas criptos e tudo mais. E lá você vai encontrar sempre boas odds, porque ali você tem um mercado bem competitivo. Então, é uma plataforma bem legal aí para vocês conhecerem, né, Divinão?
É sim, a Betdex é bem bacana, a gente deu uma olhadinha nela aqui já estamos utilizando também, e principalmente por conta dessa tecnologia que o Luquinhas falou da cripto. Todos os depósitos e saques são feitos através de cripto, né? Isso é bastante interessante. E cada vez mais vai ser mais recorrente aparecer em casas que só aceitem cripto, facilitem na cripto, né? Ao invés de transferência bancárias e coisas afins.
Exatamente. Além da facilidade, tem a questão da segurança também, né? Que é um ponto
Também.
principal aí da questão do blockchain. E além da Betdex, a gente está sempre aqui também com a nossa parceira Betbra, que aí é uma casa que funciona meio que como o espelho da Pinnacle, né? A gente sempre utilizou ela aqui nas nossas operações e ela está aqui ajudando a gente a trazer esse podcast para vocês. Então, é uma outra plataforma que a gente usa bastante e gosta demais, né, Divino?
É sim, e eles têm outra coisa interessante também lá na Betbra, é aquele planilhamento automático que eles têm das entradas, né? Você pode separar por tipster, por mercado, pelo que você quiser. Uma planilha online que a partir do momento que você faz a aposta, ele já puxa tudo para você. Você não precisa pôr green, red, nada. É tudo automático.
É isso. Facilita muito a vida aí de quem está postando, né? Mas é isso. Se você gostou de qualquer um desses dois que a gente citou aqui, o link está aqui embaixo. O QR Code da Betbra está aqui também na tela. É só vocês escanearem, fechou? Então, pessoal, sem mais delongas, vamos chamar aqui agora o nosso convidado de hoje, que é o Varun da Betdex. A Betdex aí que é meio que uma espécie de exchange que tem uma pegada bem diferente, bem tecnológica. E o Varun vai estar explicando aqui para a gente hoje como é que ela funciona, quais são todas as funcionalidades dela. E espero que vocês curtam e consigam tirar um pouquinho de proveito desse podcast, fechou? Bora lá, Divinão. Hey, Varun, how's it going?
Going well. How are you?
We're all good. Thanks for asking.
Thanks.
And thanks for accepting our invite to be here with us. It's a pleasure to receive you.
Likewise, thank you for having me.
So,
Okay.
just to start, Varun, introduce yourself for publicly. Who are you, and who bring you to this world of betting and technology and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Varun Sudhakar. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders here of Betdex. I started my gaming career, I think, back officially from an operator role back in 2015, and I actually worked at FanDuel for a number of years. So I was there through 2018, and then we sold the company to, the time was Paddy Power Betfair, now is known as Flutter. Was there for a bit, and then I left, did a few other things, and then came back to the betting world to start Betdex. So when I was at FanDuel, it was a DFS company, and then it obviously transitioned into sports betting once PASPA became legalized. Prior to that, I used to play DFS just a bit on the side. Actually, at my old job, I ran the local DFS league before I even joined FanDuel, and I used to bet sometimes with friends. So that's been my experience so far in the gaming industry, both from a betting and an operating perspective.
Okay.
Good.
So, Varun, could you start sharing with our listeners the vision behind Betdex? What sets it apart from traditional sports betting platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. So Betdex is we're a sports betting exchange, right? So think of us similar to maybe a Betfair, Smarkets, or Matchbook type model, right, where you can back as well as lay. I think what is different with us is we have completely open sourced our backend. So think of the matching algorithm in this on-chain order book that is completely open source, and we've spun it out and into this protocol layer on the blockchain, which anyone can access. So it's something which anyone can build upon. Anyone can put liquidity into. Anyone can integrate directly to trade programmatically into it as well. So think of it, the way I think about it is it's almost as if you had Betfair, but with their API and their backend free to access, free for anyone to use without any discrimination towards certain players or anything like that. And the reason we did this and why we did this and why we chose to build on the blockchain and open source this is our vision is to make the sports betting markets akin to the financial markets, right? We want to create a world where there is significant free fee compression on sports betting and a place where operators are forced to compete based upon product excellence, not based upon, just picking out winners and having really high fees and things of that nature. The best way to think about this from user perspective is if you're in the financial markets, let's say you're buying a share of Apple, you go and you buy it on Revolut or you go buy it on eToro, the price is the same. And the fee you pay will be probably de minimis or next to nothing, right? Versus sports betting, if you go and do basketball, NBA, the playoff match tonight, if you go and try to place a trade, you'll see the same. You'll see for the same market, you'll see a different price across 10 different books, right? And that's the problem that we want to solve.
Okay, so we can do a correlation too between the sports betting exchanging by the peer trading and the financial market, as you mentioned, because it's basically it's basically when you buy when it's low and sell when it's expensive. It's kind of simple. The difficulty is to understand when it's below the price, really the price, or louder. So I guess it's my think about it.
Yep. Sorry, what was the question? I agree with that.
No, it was not a question. It's
yeah,
just
the statement. Yeah, the
just
statement. Yeah, I totally agree. Right. I think that's. I mean, I think one of the powers that an exchange provides is the ability to kind of trade in and trade out, right? As well, especially as you can think about from sports betting, which especially in live markets can be quite highly volatile. I would say even more, especially compressed over a short time frame, can provide a pretty unique user experience, which I think is something which is important. So
and for the user experience too, you have a comparison with the common sports books or the cash out as they put on these books, the juice, the vig is really high live. So you're never cashing out your money with the correct value as in an exchange. You can do it,
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's actually one of the unique benefits that you can provide as an exchange, because as an exchange, it's not impossible, but it's tough to do things like parlays and bet builders and things of that nature. But you can provide other more unique experiences. It's not just price, but it's the ability to trade in and trade out at a much better value, if you will, right? And I think that if you can provide that in an easy way, in a way that is easy to interact with and consume for consumers, it's something which can be a truly differentiated product.
Varun, let me do a question. One of the key aspects of Betdex is the mission to eliminate counterpart risk. So could you explain to our audience how Betdex achieves this and why it's crucial for the future of sports betting?
Yeah, sure. So counterparty risk, just so individuals know, is the idea that when you engage with a platform, you have to engage and you have to trust a third party who can sometimes, there's risk with that, right? If you go and you place a book with a betting company, all of a sudden, depending upon the company, they may choose to make it difficult for you to withdraw your winnings, depending upon the type of player you are, or in the context of this conversation, quite often, especially sometimes in the gray markets, the money will just disappear. The company will disappear, the money will disappear, and you have no recourse to go and get your funds, right? And as we all know, that is quite common, especially in the more, I would say, like the pre-regulated markets, shall we say, right?
Yeah, we see this a lot in Brazil.
Yeah. So what the blockchain offers, one of the advantages of the blockchain, in addition to the ability to kind of pool liquidity, one of the main advantages is around counterparty risk, right? So because all the transactions occur on the blockchain, the funds are all very, very transparent, right? You can always see where your money is. You don't have to dig around to see or have any questions around like where your funds might be. The second advantage is specifically around with individuals, because we've designed the system in such a way where The backend is fully, call it, open sourced, and it's permissionless. Anyone who chooses, and it's on the blockchain, anyone who chooses to engage with this protocol, we call it the Monaco protocol. Anyone who chooses to engage with it, when you place a bet directly with the protocol and your match settles, that money comes back directly into your wallet. Betdex itself doesn't actually hold your player funds if you are integrated directly with the protocol. And so that's what we have. That's why I think how we eliminate counterparty risk. And actually, in fact, on the platform itself, there are certain individuals who come in, they'll trade via Betdex, but then there's certain individuals who will come in and they'll trade directly via the protocol. They'll have their own player, blockchain wallet that they use, and for them, the money comes back directly into their hands once the match settles. So
good. You mentioned two things that we want to cover on this conversation. First, it's about this blockchain technology. I don't know if our public know how this works. So if you can explain a little bit more for us. And the second one, it's about this Monaco protocol. But let's start with this blockchain technology, and then we go to this one. If can you explain a little bit for us how this works?
The easiest way to think about what a blockchain is, everyone says it's like a distributed ledger. I almost think about it just as a very public and transparent accounting system, right? That's the easiest way to think about what a blockchain is. And the fundamental blockchains as well, they're also permissionless, right? So anyone can access the blockchains. There's different types of blockchains. There's Ethereum is probably one of the most common blockchains that has been out there. There's another one called Solana, and that's the one that we've been building upon. The reason we chose to build upon Solana is we are building an exchange product on top of Solana. Any exchange has to be very fast and very cheap for it to succeed, right? I think you both know that. And Solana's the way they've been building the blockchain from a technological perspective has been with the sole goal of becoming extremely fast and extremely cheap, and being able to do NASDAQ levels of throughput through their blockchain. And for us, we're like, okay, that's that focus is really important for us, because we're building as an exchange which needs to be on the fast and cheap, and so that's why we chose to build upon Solana. Good,
really good. So it's more safe for everyone, and it's low cost for you to do this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I mean it is definitely, I would say, one, it's more safe because the blockchain itself is open and it's transparent, right? And Solana, specifically this blockchain itself, it has been around for a number of years, right? And there's been billions, even trillions of transactions which have gone through, and they've gone through fine, right? It's not like where someone has gone and they've lost money because of some error in the protocol code. That actually has never happened. That isn't to say that people haven't lost money on the blockchain, people have, but that's usually at the application layer, not at the fundamental layer. But that being said, you have to remember, this is a growing technology, right? So blockchain isn't necessarily as old as AWS servers or something like that, right? So being transparent, that we have had times where the blockchain slows down, right? So then any application built on top is going to slow down, right? Or once or twice in the past, blockchain itself has gone down, right? And it's gone down for an hour or whatever it might be, and your system is down, right? So those are things that you need to, risks, etc., that you need to weigh when you're thinking about the advantages that it could provide.
Good, that's really good.
Let's talk a little about the Betdex. It was built on Monaco, permissionless protocol, allowing anyone to build their own applications on top of it, right? Can you elaborate on how this openness empowers both developers and users with the ecosystems, how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. So Betdex, let's take a step back. As I mentioned before, it's a sports betting exchange. So what is the Monaco protocol? The Monaco protocol is actually the backend to the exchange, right? And so if you think about what this is, it's just code, which is basically an open sourced and transparent matching algorithm and order book, right? So that lives on the Solana blockchain. And so we call these set of smart contracts or code, we call that the Monaco protocol. So we built the original version that was V0. And actually, since then, I think we're on V0, not still on V0, like 0.14 or something like that. You can go and you can check the GitHub. You'll see that there's actually other people who have come and even contributed to the core protocol code, which I think is really interesting and really really valuable, right? The other thing that you'll also see is there's other outside of Betdex, there's other individuals who have actually not just contributed, but they've actually plugged into the code, right? So we've had market makers who've plugged in directly into the code. We've had other traders plug in directly into the protocol, and they've been able to go along and use that. Why we think that, I think that the openness and the transparency is really important. So for example, let me take the matching algorithm, right? So just to give you an example of this, like quite often, as you might have seen within the sports betting industry, especially on certain platforms, the matching algorithm isn't actually disclosed, right? And so you don't know how often, especially in an exchange, if there's an internal market maker on the exchange, how much, like, are they giving themselves an advantage over perhaps an external market maker, right? That's a common criticism I've heard on other platforms. Or how often are they perhaps, front running orders for the things of that nature, right? On our platform, that actually cannot occur because it's literally transparent, it's open source, it's on the blockchain, right? Like, it's impossible for me to go and front run someone's orders, given the way that the code is constructed. It's literally impossible to do. And so that, by open sourcing the back end and creating this kind of like hopefully the beginning of this transparent and fair ecosystem for sports betting, we can create an environment where you don't actually even need to trust what I am saying. You can just trust what you see on the blockchain and trust the code, right? And so I think that is something really powerful and really enticing, especially in an industry like sports betting, where I would say trust is not at a high point amongst a lot of different participants in the ecosystem.
Yeah. And Varun, is Betdex a pioneer on this model using blockchain? Because I've never seen any company using this kind of technology, and it sounds really good and for everyone,
Yeah, so there's a number of companies who they will accept crypto as a payment method, right? Yeah. Like Rollbit or Shuffle, etc. But there's very few that have done what we've done, which is actually put everything on the blockchain, on the back.
It's all based on blockchain.
Yeah, so that I would say we're 100% a pioneer of, right? And for us, the only reason we even chose to build on the blockchain is because of kind of the unique advantages it can provide around, as we were mentioning, like pooled liquidity, counterparty risk, all of those things. For companies which only take crypto as a payment method, those advantages are not available to their users.
Yeah, so I think that's really incredible. It's a huge technology, and see this kind of technology being used on this kind of thing, on this betting market. I think it's huge.
Yeah,
and it's easier to manage your money too by the blockchains.
In what way?
No, I mean as a user.
Yes,
it's really more easier than you having a bank account, with your money there.
Yeah, it's easier. Yeah, I think it's definitely easier to manage your money, like with the wallet, etc. I think it's also more transparent. You always know where your money is. There's no games that can be played, etc. The third thing is also, I think crypto also helps on the payment side as well, right? Just as an acceptance method. We all know how difficult it can be to, on a regulated platform, to go like the US, what credit card failure rates can be like 30-40%, right? Even though it's regulated. So yeah, some advantages.
And in the cryptocurrency, you just have the fee of the transfer, and that's it. It's how much you will pay on this transaction, and that's right.
Yeah.
No more games, as you mentioned too. No more surprises.
100%. Actually, on our end, something that we just launched this last week, but it's quite unique. So on the Betdex side, right? So Betdex is again the front-facing exchange of the interface. We actually launched our own wallet, which allows you to trade without any blockchain fees. So you can deposit USDC, or you can buy it with a credit card or something like that. And so what you're buying is USDC, the betting currency, and you place a bet, and there's no blockchain fees. Like the blockchain is like completely abstracted away. So that will allow us to go after bettors who may not know about gas fees and things like that, which we're really excited about.
Yeah, basically the fees is by on the depositing and in the withdrawal, right? It's only when you have the fees to pay.
Yes, but now with this wallet we can cover the withdrawal fees, right?
Okay,
So,
understood.
yeah.
Good. Let's move on. Let's talk a little about the regulatory challenges and compliance. With the traditional sports betting industry being heavily regulated in many countries and jurisdictions, how does Betdex navigate regulatory challenges while we're still providing a decentralized and permissionless platform?
No, great question. So regulation is handled at the application layer. So think of it it's almost similar to the internet, right? So what is one of the earliest protocols, like TCP/IP, right? It's a protocol at the messaging layer, and then the applications which built on top are the ones which are regulated. That's the similar model that we are following. So Betdex itself, which is a front-end exchange, which allows users to interact with the protocol. That is the regulated entity. If there's any other operators, and we do actually have a few other builders, etc., who are building some other front ends onto the platform, or they're maybe even be building, called it like analytical tools or something like that, right? It will be up to them to get their own licensing and apply with any laws that they need to apply with, depending upon the product that they build and the jurisdiction that they operate in.
Okay, yeah, I asked that because here in Brazil we are passing through this process right now. It's on our government to sign it out and discuss the fees and things like that. So it's a new word for us too.
Yeah,
and I hope it's a good word, new.
Yeah,
Let's hope it.
If done the right way, it can be really good, right? Now, I'm not saying the U.S. has done it the right way. I have a lot of issues with that. That's not the topic of this call. But
on US, you have another problem because every state has his own regulatory process, right? It's not the country one.
Yeah, it's worse. Yeah. It's horrible.
Yes, it's terrible.
As operators, it's really hard, right?
It's not only the regulation of the sports betting; it's for every law, right?
Every law.
US.
Oh yeah. we like our states' rights here. So.
Okay.
So Varun, talking about adoption and growth, what has been the response for users and developers so far? And what were your plans for drive adoption and growth of the Betdex ecosystem in the future?
Yeah, so we have been in beta for about a year now. So we've done over $8 million of transactions so far in beta over the last year with just a select number of markets, and confidentially will actually be coming out of beta in probably about 4 to 6 weeks. So it's some alpha you can drop to your listeners. But the response from the users and developers, I think, within the crypto community itself, and especially within traders have found that users have found that this technology is quite interesting. The fact of bringing like a whole sports betting ecosystem on chain, which can become transparent and like permissionless, and that they can engage with their crypto wallet, they found that to be like really interesting. When we have spoken to people who outside the crypto community, individuals who I would say, let's say that are hardcore Betfair or Matchbook or SmartGoods user, but don't know anything about crypto, we see a drop off because those users are finding it difficult to come and procure their own crypto and come and wager on the platform. There's a learning curve there, right? And they have to think about these gas fees and all of that. So for us, what we've been doing on the front end side is really abstracting away the complexities of the blockchain to ensure that individuals who can come on board, which in our target market initially is going to be price sensitive bettors. Like we want them to be able to come in and engage with the platform as if they were engaging with, a matchbook or something like that, without having to worry about getting premium charged or anything like that, right? But the deposit experience should be very easy, right? Like you just come in, put in a debit card or put in, if you have crypto, you send it. You don't have to worry about gas fees, anything like that. So that's what we've been building a lot on the product side. And that's the wallet I mentioned, which we launched last week. From developers, the feedback I actually think has been actually quite similar, in the sense that so our market makers, they've been able to integrate and they're putting up liquidity, they're putting up prices, etc. We've also had individual developers come in and build their own front ends, and a few have even integrated directly into the protocol to come and trade, right? But I would say for us to really be able to go more like mass market, we need to be doing more of what we were doing as similar to on the front end, where we're abstracting away some of the complexities of the blockchain on the back end, right? So making it as easy for someone to come in and integrate, who's maybe used to the Betfair API, making it easy for them to come and port over their system to us. So that is a work effort which has been ongoing as well, to ensure that folks who are already familiar with Betfair API or BetTech API, whatever it might be, are able to easily come in and port over to our system, and not have to worry about things on the worry about kind of like nuances that the blockchain has, which perhaps you don't see in the Web 2 world.
Good. And when you are talking, you bring me something. There's two different kind of people, really different, right? The people who don't trust on cryptos and stuff like that, and the people who are totally passionate about this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So you have two different publics to go through to sell your product, right? So it's two different approach to sell the product for these two different kind of people. It's really different.
Yeah, it's different. I think from our perspective, what we've been trying to do, so because of that, and because of especially the cryptocurrency can be really volatile also, right? Like not just sports betting being volatile, but the crypto can be volatile as well, right? Even within 2 hours. So we've made a very conscious decision where any betting market that we run, it's in USDC only. So even with you, so that value doesn't really fluctuate, right? That's kind of one-to-one basis with the US dollar. And so even if you come into our platform and you deposit with ETH or Bitcoin or something like that, we will tell you, hey, ETH is currently trading at, let's say, $3,000. If you're giving 1 ETH, we're going to give you $3,000 of USDC. Do you accept that, right? And then you'll trade with that. And then when you withdraw, we will ask you to confirm based upon an exchange rate, right? Because we want to make it call it take away kind of call it the variance that you can see with the cryptocurrency that you're wagering with, because that just gives an additional layer of complexity to someone who may have some trust issues, shall we say, with crypto.
Good, understood.
Yeah, and as Lucas mentioned too, he asked you actually about being the pioneer on this blockchain and crypto markets for exchanges. And as you said, Betfair and the others, they don't accept cryptos. I guess it's a thing more for the offshores, including on bookies, not only exchanges. When I don't know, there are some bookies that you only can use crypto. They don't accept credit cards and things like that because they can't afford, or they don't want to pass through the regulatory, right?
Yep.
It's an escape from this kind of thing too, right?
I think it's definitely an escape, but I think it's actually more on the payment side than anything. I think like the benefit there is more on the payment side, because the fees can be so cheap, right? Comparative to what you see with credit cards and debit cards and stuff. I think that in my opinion, there's actually this misnomer out there that using crypto, you can get around, call sanctions or things like that, or if you're a bad actor, maybe it's really easy to launder money or something like that. I actually think if you on chain, it's really difficult to do that. It's every transaction that is placed is tracked right on the blockchain.
Yeah, you have the hash of all the transactions.
I think so. I actually think if you're going to launder money, just to be honest, like open a like a laundromat business or go to a casino or something. It'll be much easier. So.
Yeah, but I hope I prefer the cryptocurrency too. It's more easier to deposit, withdrawals, and everything like that. I hope that when Brazilian process of the regulation comes through, the many books with this method of payment comes. I really like it.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's definitely the future in my mind. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. I guess with time, more and more books and exchanges and everything like that, we've started to use it more, right? Yep. I agree with you. It's the future too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and as Divino mentioned this, in your view, Varun, how do you see Betdex and this decentralized sports betting protocols, like it shaping the future of the sports betting industry? And what do you think is the potential impact do you anticipate it having on traditional sports book? Do you think it's that the future, or what do you think?
Good question. So I guess to answer the first question, right? So our vision for Betdex and the Monaco protocol and where we want to become is, I want to end up having the Monaco protocol as this permissionless, open source, transparent liquidity layer for sports betting that anyone can put liquidity onto, anyone can build their own applications on top of, anyone can access, right? And let's say 5 years from now, what I would love to see is Betdex is one of a few different operators which are sitting on top of this liquidity pool, right? And each of these different operators, they're competing to bring in retail flow or users into the ecosystem, right? And these operators are basically competing upon product and product excellence, right? And that's how they are innovating. And then on the back end of the protocol, what you'll end up seeing is you'll have more institutions and market makers who will be plugged in directly, right? So they're the ones who are providing prices to the protocol, which is again the limit order book. And everyone who and then there's retail flow trading against them, which is coming in from, call it, brokers, right? Like Betdex could be one of a few different brokers. And then you could also have individual aspiring programmatic traders, etc., like people who use software like BetAngel and things of that nature, plug in directly into the protocol and they can trade against the market makers. So that's what our long-term vision is and where we want to go with the ecosystem. The second question on do I think this is actually like the death of sportsbooks and things like that? I actually don't. I actually think that sportsbooks and there's always going to be a world for traditional sportsbooks, right? People love placing 20-leg accumulators, parlays, and that's never going to change. I think where these platforms can actually kind of coexist and actually help each other is actually when it comes to competition, right? So specifically right now, I'll give you an example. If you are a sportsbook, let's say in the US, who is going up against, and you're not FanDuel, you're not DraftKings, you're a smaller sportsbook, to compete in the US, it's really difficult right now, right? Unless you have a huge marketing budget, if you're going after this retail customer base, you cannot. Your product is definitely going to be worse than what FanDuel or DraftKings probably have. Your brand is nowhere near as strong as kind of what they have, right? And it's quite difficult for you to go and compete on price because you just don't have the experience or the risk and trading team that's there. And if you do compete on price, the chances of you getting blown up can go much higher, right? But if you have this area where eventually, hey, you know what? I put out these marketing offers, I make a bet, I'm getting a lot of retail flow on X market, etc., and it's quite one-sided. But I'm doing that because I'm able to compete, like I'm getting the action from the price. But if you're able to hedge that and offload it to a protocol like ours, all of a sudden you now have an ability to compete against other books, right? Which you did not have before. So I actually think that in the long run, the protocol could actually become a venue where books across the world can actually use it to hedge, which I think is really powerful and really interesting because it provides another way to compete.
That's right.
Nice. Good.
Finally here, Vero, could you give us a glimpse into the future of Betdex? What upcoming developments or features can our listeners look forward to? And what is the roadmap for Betdex moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. So Betdex, I think I'd mentioned the wallet before, but going forward, what you'll be able to expect on the exchange level. So right now, you can come in, you can deposit with USDC if you have it, and then if you're not, you can deposit with, depending upon the jurisdiction you're in, you'll be able to purchase it directly on the site with a credit card, debit card, or a bank account. Soon after, you'll be able to deposit not just with those deposit methods, but with other payment options. So we'll add Ethereum, we'll add Bitcoin, we'll add USDT, etc. Right? And we will continue to abstract away kind of the complexities of the chain for you, and it will be a very seamless onboarding and betting experience. So that is called, just months away. Second thing is we hope to be in a position where we will be able to launch in-play trading across a wider variety of markets later this year. While we've been in beta, we've largely been focused on pre-match markets. We started with just soccer, football markets, and then we've expanded to NBA. We have NFL, we have tennis, etc. Even a little bit of cricket. A lot of it is pre-match only. We want to be able to expand our in-play offering quite a bit by the end of the year. And then on the protocol side, we're working again to really create a much easier way for a lot more institutions to come and integrate. We've had a few who've come in and integrated, but we want to be able to make it much easier for people to come in and programmatically integrate with the protocol. So think a lot more documentation, API, things of that nature coming out later this year.
Good. Good. This part of the documentation, it's is really good for everyone.
Yeah, 100%.
So Varun, I think we are going to the end of this podcast. I want to give you a space to talk to your public for who wants to know the Betdex and test the website and stuff like that.
Kind of merchan,
Yeah. do your merchandising.
Yeah. So from my perspective, if you're a user who wants to come in and bet on a platform where you're not going to get restricted, where you are not going to get premium charged, and where you can come and bet with crypto, super low fees, in some cases no fees, come to Betdex. This is a platform in my mind which is truly built for the better. There's no restrictions on our platform. Everyone is charged the same fee. All our code, everything is open source. It's transparent. This is a fair ecosystem that you're coming in and playing on. So I'd really love to platform. If you are interested, just go to www.app.betdex.com, and you can always reach out to me or anyone else on the team directly if you have any problems.
So
okay, we will put the link on the description here of our video too. Okay.
So Varun, thanks for this conversation. It was a pleasure to receive you, and thanks for explaining for us how Betdex works. I think it's a huge technology, a huge platform. It's a big thing. So thanks.
Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, good. Bye, Varun.
Thanks, Varun. Bye.
See ya.